good, y'all? The trades just keep coming. In the last 24 hours, we have now 2 blockbuster deals. This one is not as big as the Luka trade, but still super significant. De'Aaron Fox finally got traded to the San Antonio Spurs. It was a 3-team deal. Here's all the details right here. Of course, the Bulls and Zach LaVine are included in this, where Zach LaVine's going to Sacramento. Crazy trade here. I'm here to break it down and give my thoughts on it. And as always, I'm going to start by talking about the team that got the best player, and that is the San Antonio Spurs getting De'Aaron Fox. Ever since the rumors started of De'Aaron maybe getting moved from Sacramento, I really wanted him to go to San Antonio, just because having a point guard as dynamic as him, as you know, the ball handler, the scorer, the playmaker, pairing him alongside a dynamic big like Victor Wembanyama, I feel like it's going to be almost unstoppable. We saw the change that a 40-year-old Chris Paul did to the Spurs offense by just coming in and help settling things and set people up. Now imagine the impact of a all-star caliber, all-NBA caliber guard of De'Aaron Fox that can do a lot of the things that Chris Paul does, but even more on a scoring level. And I know the play styles are pretty different, but De'Aaron is already used to playing off of a dynamic center like Domantas Sabonis. Now with Wemby, like I said, play styles are pretty different, but the dribble handoffs, the pick and rolls, that's all still going to be there. Wemby is going to be able to actually open up the paint a lot more for De'Aaron Fox and his drives, considering Victor Wembanyama is one of the better shooting centers in the NBA. I'm just really happy that the Spurs saw Wemby taking these steps as a player and seeing how great he is already, and not wasting any time bringing in talent to help this team get better. I would assume the starting lineup would be De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and then Victor Wembanyama. That's a pretty solid starting 5 if you ask me. Then off the bench, they still have Chris Paul, they still have Keldon Johnson, they still have Julian Champagnie. I think that's another highlight to this trade, is the Spurs really didn't give up too much personnel-wise. I thought for sure in this trade they would have to give up at least one of Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, or Jeremy Sohan. They were able to keep all of them. Zach Collins has been out of the rotation for a little bit now and had just a super big contract, so it's good to move him off. Trey Jones, I really like him as a player, but I mean, when you're bringing in another point guard, you're not going to miss him really too much. And then just 3 first-round picks, only one of them being their own first-round picks. So they still have a lot of flexibility going forward. They still were able to keep on all of their young guys. I'm pretty confident in saying the Spurs can make a play-in push in this loaded Western Conference. And once they make it, I mean, they only got to win 1 or 2 games to make the playoffs. Anything can happen at that point when you have a talented player like Wemby, now paired alongside another dynamic player like Fox. I love this trade for the now for the Spurs. I love this trade for the future for this. They were able to get a player that matches the timeline while still keeping all of their young talent. I love this trade for the Spurs. I'm giving them a A grade. The next team I want to talk about is the Kings. They, of course, I know had their hands tied and needed to move on from De'Aaron Fox, considering he wasn't going to re-sign with them. So I can't really put too much against them. And they were able to get back a player like Zach LaVine, who, I know the All-Star team is pretty loaded and there's a lot of talent in this NBA, but Zach LaVine, the season he's having, he at least deserves to be in the conversation of an All-Star. Super efficient scorer, 3-level scorer. I really like what he can do offensively. But when you talk about the fit with the Kings, I don't know if I really like it too much. Of course, we already saw DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine play together in Chicago. Then their center was Nikola Vucevic. Now their center is Domantas Sabonis. Big upgrade there. 2 offensive-minded centers. I really still don't love the fit of those 3 players playing together, though. When you look at their starting lineup, which is those 3 guys plus Malik Monk and Keegan Murray, defensively, I don't like that lineup whatsoever. The only plus defender there is like Keegan Murray. And then it's also a lot of bucket first guys. I want to give shout outs to obviously Sabonis. He's a great playmaker out of the post and going to be the main playmaker on this team. But when you talk about more of like perimeter creation, Malik Monk, he's a solid playmaker, but still a bucket first type of guy, score first mindset. Same thing with Zach LaVine. I like what he can bring playmaking wise, but still his number 1 goal is to score the basket. Also the same things can be said about DeMar DeRozan. I want them to have more of a guy that can be on the perimeter and create for others. And I can see a world where mainly backed by Sabonis and then with a committee of Monk, LaVine, and DeRozan. I could see them having enough playmaking, enough ball movement to really have a still very good offense. But if I had to just pick like one thing, that's like a glaring thing to me with this fit. All in all, though, I really do like the draft capital the Kings got back in this trade. They get 3 pretty valuable first-round picks. My favorite of the 3 being the 2031 Minnesota first-round pick. By then, we really have no idea what Minnesota could look like, so I feel like that's a very good first-round pick to have. And then they also get 3 seconds in there. If I was giving this trade a grade from the Kings' perspective, I'm going to give them a B-. I do, like I said, love the draft capital compensation. Zach LaVine is a very talented basketball player. The fit just questions me a little bit, so that's why I give him a B-. And then the last team involved in this trade is the Bulls. Obviously, by now, I think it's safe to say the Bulls held on to Zach LaVine for much longer than they needed. They should have traded him a season or even 2 seasons ago at this point, but they really wanted to hold on to making the play-in tournament over and over again for whatever reason. And here we are now. They finally did it, though, so thank you to them, I guess. Out of the players the Bulls got back, Tre Jones is the most intriguing to me. I really like him as a player, a more traditional point guard, playmaking first type of guy. Scoring-wise, his jump shot's a little shaky, but he can get to the rim pretty decently. I really would like him as a player, but the Bulls already have so many point guards on their roster. They have Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Lonzo Ball. If you even want to throw Javon Carter in there, like they already have so many guards. Now they're bringing in another one with Tre Jones. And I know there were rumors that the Bulls were going to be sellers, and this Zach LaVine trade is really confirming that they will be sellers. But it kind of gets me wondering, will they trade one or more of those point guards I just listed? I'm pretty confident they would want to move off of Lonzo Ball considering his contract situation and just the fact that the Bulls aren't really competing for anything, so I would assume other teams would want to take a bite at Lonzo, so I would think he would be gone, but maybe a Kobe White could be moved on too. I know there was rumors of that, and they don't know if they want to pay him significant money. I don't really know what's going to go on with that point guard situation, but they're just absolutely log-jammed there right now. And then the other guys they brought on are just kind of salary filler in my eyes. Zach Collins, I don't think is anything too special, no disrespect to him. And then Kevin Huerter, he's been in a big shooting slump for the last season and a half at this point. Both of them have expiring deals, not after this season, but the year after that. Both are getting about $18 million there, so they could be used in further deals to help facilitate just, contracts and stuff, or the Bulls can just hold on to them for one more season, try to build up their value. If not, they expire and they just get some more cap space there. And then the draft compensation that they got back, they got 1 first-round pick back, and it is their own of this season. I know this pick was lottery protected, and right now they're floating around in that play-in tournament area in a weak Eastern Conference, so this just kind of confirms that they will own their own first-round pick regardless, and that is valuable. But when I look at this trade as a whole for the Bulls, I don't really like the players they got back. And their draft capital, their 1 first-round pick, getting their own lottery-protected pick back. Again, valuable, but nothing too crazy. I am pretty disappointed in the return for the Bulls here, and I feel like that's what I've been saying for the last few moves that the Bulls have made. There is value in the fact that they have really officially kicked off their rebuild, though, that they're kind of just going straight for the bottom now. That's really what they need to do. Vucevic probably will be on the move, hopefully, at least if I'm a Bulls fan. I would hope he gets moved along with some of their other veteran guys. They need to just commit to the tank finally. Almost forgot to give them a grade there. My grade for the Bulls is a C. I really, again, a very underwhelming package. They have the worst grade out of all of these trades. And then, of course, the Spurs have the best with a A grade. What about you guys, though? Let me know in the comments below who you think won this trade and what teams or what grades you would give each team. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.